database. Okay, so to getting started with the first lesson, that is using serverless SQL pool to query files in a data lake. So basically, this SQL pools in Azure Synapse Analytics are of two types. One is serverless SQL pool and another one is dedicated SQL pool. So basically, if you're running on-demand query means you will be using the serverless SQL pool. So here, whatever the query you are performing, all of those files will be stored in your data lake. So here, basically, you use the serverless SQL pool during the data exploration process or data transformation process, or during the logical data warehouse building. So whenever you go for this dedicated SQL pools, you can perform this cloud scale relational database and like data stored in the relational tables. If you want to get the data or query the data, you can use that. So basically it is you creating one dedicated kind of resource, and then you are using all of your resources there. So this will be basically used in data warehousing and also with enterprise business intelligence solutions, we can say. And whenever you want to query a CSV file using this serverless SQL pool, that is a delimited text file, so you need to consider that there is one function called OPENROWSET, that is basically you are supposed to use it. And this will essentially return a tabular data set based on the data in a file system location. So either it will be deriving the tabular schema from the data itself, or by applying an explicit schema of column definitions. So for delimited files, you can specify explicit delimiters, tab, comma, space, etc. So the default field delimiter is comma. So whenever you go through this example, which opens the data files from a specified CSV file, and it will return it as a tabular data set based on the schema defined in the with clause. So here in the with clause, whatever the schema you are providing, like product ID, product name, list price, whatever you are providing it here within the with clause, you can actually see that here. So here you are explicitly specifying the schema, and you can explicitly use that schema here. This is what you can do using this OpenRowset function, we can say. Okay, this is how you do the query for this delimited text files. And if you want to do a query for this JSON files using a serverless SQL pool, so there is no specific JSON format. So JSON files are actually treated as delimited files only with specific delimiters and the object path syntax in the JSON value function, we can say. So here you will be having this JSON value function. Here you will be providing the object path. So this will be used as a navigation to the JSON document hierarchy based on the resulting row set. So which will be consisting of rows containing test value for your JSON objects. Okay, and basically you will be using this bulk parameter to specify the specific path, and you can use the format parameters to specify the CSV, and you can also set the terminators to the 0 into 0b terminators can be used, and you can also use the with clause to specify single n varchar column for this, so that whatever the document present in this JSON document, so that will be converted into this single n varchar column like this. Okay, this is how you query the files of JSON files using a serverless SQL pool. And if you want to query a Parquet file using serverless SQL pool, generally you might be aware that Parquet is one of the preferred format for working with data files in a data lake because of its efficient compression format, and also it will be supporting across big data processing platforms also. So there is a lot of data engineering tasks that involve transforming data from other formats into Parquet. So in most of the cases, the schema is embedded in the Parquet file, so a with clause is not primarily required. So partitioning is one of the technique that's not specific to Parquet, but which is commonly used to improve the scalability and also the performance in the partnership with the optimizations, we can say. So this will inherit in the Parquet format. So you can use this OpenRowSet function by using the bulk parameters specifies the file path, and you can also include the wildcards whenever you require, and you can also use the format parameters to specify the Parquet. Okay, and then you can also use the file path property to filter by partitions. So here the parameters will reflect the ordinal positions of the wildcards. Okay, this is how you query the Parquet file using the serverless SQL pool. And we have this create external database objects. So here, whenever you want to create this external database object, as a first step, you need to create a database first, and then you will be creating the credentials for the database, and you will be performing the external data source files, and then you will be creating this external file format, and finally you will be creating this external table. So whenever you do the database, it will be in the serverless SQL pool. And whenever you are creating the credentials, you are going with the authorized access to the external tables, you need to provide the credentials. And whenever you create the external data source, this will actually encapsulate the connection to the external file storage location. So if you go for this external file format, that will define the file type and format for externally stored data. Okay, and finally you will be creating this external table. So here you will be having all the relational abstraction over the data in your external files. Okay, this is how you create the external database objects. Okay, so moving to the next slide. So we have one homework for you. Like whenever you finish this class, you can go in your home. Whenever you have your free time, you can use the query files using serverless SQL pool. Using this link provided for the instructions given below, you can work with a free Azure account. You can just create your free Azure account with a nominal credentials. You can just create it, and you can work with this lab. So now let's have a quick knowledge check. So what function is used to read the data in files stored in a data lake? Yes, that's correct. It's a OPENROWSET function. So what character in file path can be used to select all the files or folders that match rest of the path? Yes, that is star. And which external database object encapsulate the connection information to file location in a data lake store? Yes, that's correct.